What's up, everybody? Mark with Cardivox Academy here, and I'm doing it. You know, recently I reacted to a Disembodied Tyrant / Synestia, the collaborative project between these two bands, their song Death Empress. I'm not gonna lie, I have not been able to stop thinking about it. It's a really dope song. I remember in my initial reaction, I was like, maybe it's too busy, but after giving it a lot more listens, I think it's actually pretty solid. I think my ears just had to kind of my old man ears had to get used to it. And so I was like, man, I can't stop thinking about this song. And a lot of people in the comments, they were like, yo, you gotta listen to Winter. You gotta listen to Winter. And so normally I try to add a little bit of space between my reactions, right? Between when I react to a band multiple times. But I figured, you know what? To heck with it. I'm doing it my way. I'm taking the suggestions. So today I'm going to be talking about the song Winter, again, by this project between Disembodied Tyrant and Synestia, which I'm very excited about. Now, if you're new to the channel, I am one of two vocal coaches here on Cardivox Academy. I'm the original one who started the whole thing with my business partner, Quigs. And recently we brought on another vocal coach who specializes in clean singing. She's done some amazing analysis of Electric Callboy, of Nightwish. So if you're into that sort of thing, go check her out. This is our effort to bring you the best of both worlds, right? And I cover mostly, I mean, I'm sure we're going to have some crossover, but I cover mostly a bunch of the harsh vocal type of stuff because that's what I do for a living. I teach people how to create harsh noises safely and efficiently so they don't hurt themselves. Been doing it for, I used to say 5 years, but recently I did my taxes and we actually started in 2020. I thought we started in 2019, but we started in 2020. So it's been 4 years. My bad. But we've been doing it for a long time and I'm really excited. I'm really excited to check this song out because I loved all the little nuances that I was hearing in the last track. So we're going to go ahead and go with it today. Like, share, subscribe. I don't know. Do whatever the hell you want. Just thanks for watching the video. So let's check out Disembodied Tyrant Synestia Winter. Here we go. Do I want to look here? Do I want to look there? There. All right, before we even start talking about vocals, can you do that? Is that allowed? I don't know. Yeah, so that's interesting. Interesting use of a pre-established classical song in a metal song. That's kind of interesting. Now, on a personal level, I think it sounds dope. It doesn't bother me one bit. Sampling's been around for a long time. Is that more than a sample? Probably. Y'all can have that conversation in the comments. I don't care. But I do wonder, like, are you allowed to do that? That's an old song that I believe now. Okay, listen. Before I tell you, I'm pretty sure I don't want to set myself up to like seem like a classical music virtuoso. I'm not. I just really like the show Chef's Table, and it has this song in the theme song. And so my wife and I looked it up once, and I'm pretty sure it's Vivaldi Four Seasons Concerto No. 4. That's probably the only classical song I can name. So please don't be like, oh yeah, Mark's like a connoisseur. And I don't know anything about that. We just looked it up like 2 months ago. So that's the only reason I know. And I could be wrong. But that's a really interesting, it sounded good. I'm going to hold my comments for later because, again, mostly here to talk vocals. It worked. I'll tell you that much. It absolutely worked. I love that guttural coming in and also the 16:9 aspect ratio. This song is just doing some stuff that it's weird to me. I'm not against it, though. Okay. All right. That classical mix was dope. It's actually Baroque. I don't know. Maybe I'm using the wrong. I don't know what it is. I just know there's always that actually guy in the comment. Actually, he's always in the comments. I literally have to go back because that was so distracting, but in such a cool way. I was not paying attention, and my job is to pay attention. So I totally, they grabbed my brain and they were like, "Come over here." So yes. Let me listen to that intro one more time, and then I'm going to just dump a bunch of good vocal knowledge on all of y'all, because that's what we're here for. Let's keep going. Okay, that's about where I paused it last time. So there's a crazy amount. Like, y'all don't understand. Okay, I'm sure many of you understand, but like, there is a crazy amount of stuff going on. And what we listen to right now, I could make a full hour-long video on it, to be quite transparent with you, right? But there are a couple of main things I want to point out. One, obviously, we've got this amazing back forth, right? Between these high vocals and these really strong, really nice, even low tones, right? Now, some people may say it's more of a mid. Some people may say it's more of a low. I'm actually going to address that here in a second. Short version, I don't care. Long version, it's much more interesting than that. But essentially, the very beginning is the first thing I want to talk about, that narrative style. And this is one of the reasons why I absolutely love harsh vocals, right? Because harsh vocals, I'm being a little bit simplistic here, but we didn't hear any tone, right? We heard no pitch. Everything has, if there's a sound, pitch can be pulled from it, but we didn't hear a very distinct pitch, right? Right. You know, it's very far back, really washed away. You know, and I don't know what the lyrics were, but something, you know, he invaded the Lucifer, the enemy started right, just like that sort of thing. Now, think about like, if I were singing, clean singing, and trying to do that, the cadence and the pattern would make a really weird sounding melody, you know, and then in the lands of Valhalla, it would sound really weird. You can basically take your harsh vocal technique, because it is pitchless, pull it over to a narrative style, and now it's a speaking voice. And I think that that's a very interesting bridge that harsh vocals cross that clean vocals can't cross in the same way. You know what I mean? And I'll just leave it there, because I know that's going to spark a lot of stuff in the comments, and that's good. Now, the second thing we're hearing two very distinct tones, right? Now, I stand by what I said last time, that a lot of this is very, very fry based. I do more like arytenoidal, false chordy stuff, but it doesn't really make a difference, because what we're going to be talking about here is mouth shape, vocal tract shape, right? So one thing that really helps a lot of students in my experience, and one thing that we're getting really, really strongly here, is that oftentimes what we're doing is we're just holding a tone and then shaping it with our mouth and our pharynx and our tongue, and to a degree, the top of our throat, right? So for example, to make this pretty clear, if I've used this example in past videos, so let's use it again, right? If I say supercalifragilisticexpialidocious, right? Supercalifragilisticexpialidocious, what I'm actually doing is and put those together, supercalifragilisticexpialidocious, see, when I take the articulation away, it's just that weird sounding pitch, okay? So, you know, if I'm doing, you know, something really fast, again, I don't know these lyrics, so if I'm like, you know, not a good rapper. Verona should help me with that. You know, what I'm doing is, that's it. And then that's all, right? Now, this allows us, when we're able, now that's not to say that it's easy. It's actually quite difficult. Even airflow, it requires extremely good even airflow, which this, you know, is definitely heard so far in this song. It also requires a very well-placed tone, which is very evident in this song as well. And then you have to be able to kind of manage the way that the way that that airflow moves when we close it off, right? Because that's what a consonant is a temporary impedance of the airflow, right? Vowel, consonant, la, 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 ma, ma, closing off or partially occluding the airflow. That's what it is, right? So the fact that this vocalist can like rapid fire, you know, is very cool, especially in the lows here, because in the lows, we're hearing like tongue forward, tongue back. So not only are they going very, very quickly articulating, but they're articulating very, very quickly in the front. And if I do that, right, you know, it sounds really cool back and forth, right? And there's an extreme level of accuracy here that I find very impressive. I could go on more, but there's some song to listen to. Also, look at that pissed off puppy. Whew. Keep him away from me. Just kidding. I'd snuggle him anyway and die. I want to pause there because this is a really good illustration, and this is a way that I can tie together overall vocal concepts, right? So one thing that Verona actually spoke about, she recently did for the channel. I'm sure y'all have seen it. It's at crazy views. Thank you, Verona. But one thing she talked about is controlling vowels, the purity of a vowel, right? So one thing that you can hear when you're listening to this, especially because the vocals are going da 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 slowly, they're moving in chunks, is the way that the vowels are controlled, right? I don't know exactly where it starts, but I think it starts at doom. I'm just gonna push here, and let's talk about what we hear. Here we go. Yeah, listen to those vowels. First of all, those vowels are not how we would pronounce the actual word. If you listen closely, he pronounced doom as dome, right? Dome. Why would we do this, right? Why wouldn't we just, you know, utilize an oo vowel, especially because in metal, oo is a great vowel. It's a great vowel. Love the oo vowel. We all do, right? Why would we go for dome? Well, O is a more open vowel, right? Oh, 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 oh. And in a lot of metal vocals, we curl the tongue back when we do it. Oh, oh. A lot of the time here, at least what I'm hearing here is the lips are also curled. Oh. So instead of that has a lot more of a roar, right? Versus is very sinister. Is very aggressive. It's much more like a beast attacking you in the woods, maybe like those wolves. I don't know, maybe I'm reaching here, but I really like that. And then if we think about the vowels, there's a lot of like really quick vowel movement, and the vowels are all very, there's no vowels strung together, which I've talked about, which Verona's talked about in her video, diphthongs, right? When we have two vowels that create their own syllable. A good example is, let's see, great, great, right? We don't say great, we say great. So that actually has a lot of room in harsh vocals. We love the diphthong in the harsh vocal world, but it's also really impressive when we can keep things steady. So I'm editing these videos, so I'll put myself through the pain of all this rewinding. I'll do it to me. But listen to these vowels. I'm not gonna be able to repeat them all, but it's like, oh, and now of course they're surrounded by consonants, right? But our consonants are just like little hop skips. They're little transit stations to move from one vowel to another, right? So, you know, it's like just with consonants surrounding it. It's really actually pretty cool. There was a little diphthong on diphthong on ains. It's absurd. But it was not just remains or remain, because you can't really say a without the diphthong. So it was like I remains. It was a little bit of that. There's so much going on, like, you know, guitars, and then all of a sudden I've got what sounds like, now I'm not a drummer, so if I get it wrong, but it sounds like maybe a splash, like just panned left, right? Really immersive, really a lot of immersion going on. Now, I think, you know, this is certainly not exclusive to the vocals in this song, but it is something that stands out, having heard a little bit of this project, you know, so far, a couple songs. I heard the Poetic Edda, but like I said, I tried to react to it and I just couldn't, because I was a sourpuss that day. I don't even remember what was going on. I was just in a bad mood. But I'm just stretching my shoulder here. But anyways, one thing is, like, really, like I was talking about before, really quick, really rapid vowel movement. Quick, rapid vowel movement, right? So if you want to practice that, it's actually really easy. Not every not every vocal exercise is, you know, this intense thing. Sometimes we're just building a little bit of coordination, right? So what you can do is you can sort of just kind of staccato punch in on the vowels you want. Ah, eh, oh, ooh, right? And one of the great things about metal vocals is you can't really pronounce the vowel wrong. You know, like, you can't. That's why I'm saying, and don't take this the wrong way, as somebody who has been a vocalist for a very long time and has made a career out of it, there are some aspects of this art form where it's easy mode. Because once you get it, what are you going to do? Mispronounce a word? What are you going to do? Be flat? Be sharp? No! You don't even think about it. Don't even think about it. You don't care, right? So for example, let's say you want to say the vowel E, right? And in singing, it would be very not good to sing with your mouth really closed down, you know? I'll be home for Christmas, you can count on me. It would be terrible. But what if I do that with like, you know, a really simple, like, you know, but a little maybe more compressed, right? You know, be home for Christmas, you can count on me. Sounds sick, right? And so this whole song is basically, I feel like this vocalist they probably realized this consciously, but they reached the point where they were like, oh, I've been practicing mouth shapes for so long. They're all right. It's just a matter of whether they sound cool. Sweet. Is that right or wrong? Take it from me, a vocal coach. I don't care. Does it sound cool? Yes. Is it safe? Yes. Then it's right. That's it. Done. End of the equation, right? Anyways, I was about to go on a very spicy rant. I'll keep that for myself. But yeah, so far there's a lot of really masterful articulation, really masterful vocal placement here going on that you really only get when you've kind of reached a point of like technique. Okay, you're good enough. Now you can sort of just take the reins off and go. Here we go. I knew it. You can't fool me. You can't fool me. Nah, I'm just kidding. I get fooled all the time. So let's talk about those vowels at the end, because I guess we're talking about vowels today. I guess that's what we're doing. I don't know. Let's listen to these vowels. Let's listen to these vowels here. So it's interesting. We got a lot of vocal layers, and the vocals are okay. The vocals are loud, but there's a lot of like wash going on here, so it does make it a little difficult to analyze, right? But it sounded like engulfed in was all one vocal style, right? And the vowels were maybe a little bit more whistly on that I'm not sure. But this is, remember how before I was talking about how, consonants are basically our way from stepping from one vowel to another, right? So if I was to scream this line and I was going to try to do it kind of close, right? I would probably pronounce things. I wouldn't even say the N. I'd say agophi. I'd probably just say agophi, to be honest with you. Because the N is already sort of hinted at by the curled tongue. My tongue, when I do a lot of lows, this is true for everybody, but it's true for me. My tongue is already just gently touching either the soft spot above my front teeth, that little dip, right? That little cave called the alveolar or postalveolar ridge, or that's the bumpy part. My tongue is already either touching there or really close. So the N is sort of insinuated, right? Yeah. And then the switch to the G, I have to tap, so the N is already there. So I'm not even going to think about the N. So I'm going to say, right? It sounds almost like I said, and coffee, but who cares? Now, flames actually sounded like a different vocal. If I was to guess here in the moment, that's the downside of these first time reactions, is sometimes you have to be like, all right, time to get the perfect right no flaw answer immediately. And when you get a slightly wrong answer, people are like, ha ha ha. Actually, no, I'm kidding. 99.9% of people who interact with this channel are quite lovely. But it sounded more like a tunnely, like, it was brighter than that. Maybe. That was probably it. If you want to make sounds like that, it's actually not too difficult to do, assuming you know a baseline distortion. So the way that I just did it, again, it's a little too hard to know for sure how this vocalist did it, because there's just so much. This mix is very wet, very damp, very dense, right? At least it is to me. I don't know. Somebody might disagree. But basically what I did is I just had like a little bit of like false chord, high distortion. That's it. And then when I did my tunnel, which is just tongue on the back of the teeth, there are many ways to do a tunnel. This is the way I do it. Tongue on the back of the teeth, push forward, and I tuck the sides of my teeth into my tongue into my upper teeth. Like that. Seal it off with your lip. So from there, that's going to give you this sound. Yeah. Sounds pretty cool. But then from there, I actually press the back of my tongue up against my soft palate a little bit to give it like this really wet poppy sound, which is kind of what it sounds like here. Although I'm willing to bet if I were to hear it isolated, I'm pretty far off. Just to be honest, I'm probably pretty far off. But if I take these, you can do this for fun. Sorry, I'm just riffing right now, but I can't help it. These folks sort of banger, and it's making me want to play with vocals. But anyways, oh yeah. Stitch your vowels together with little consonants, and you can do whatever you want. If you're in like this sludgy, nasty toilet bowl area of metal vocals, literally just do what you want, right? If it sounds cool and it's healthy, I don't care, right? You know, do you think the person who found the first guttural, you know, like the first like was like, oh, it's bad technique to put your tongue against your, you know, clear. No, they were not thinking that. They were not thinking about that, right? And the first person to sing, even, you know, clean sing with a ton of twang, you know, they probably weren't like quacking like a duck while singing. That's not good technique. You know, I'm going to leave you with this hot take. Okay. And this is just for harsh vocals. Things are different in the clean singing world, but fuck convention. Do what you want as long as you stay safe. Many thanks. Much love. I'm out.